appreciate what the limits are as well, because I am only human. So
Mm-hmm.
both
Definitely.
ways.
So I'm not sure if Bhante is there.
They'll come on. They will come on.
Okay.
And they're gonna broadcast from the temple.
I see that it's going. It's broadcasted live on YouTube.
Yeah. So right now they're showing today's program, but then this will be taken off the screen, and you're going to see all the monks.
I got it. Thank you. How do I call you? Homero?
Homero. Homero.
Homero.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay, so it's gonna come, right? Right. It's gonna come because they're using the screen right now, and then they're gonna go to the thing.
Yes. Welcome everyone. Could you mute yourself?
You're talking. Do I click on this? No. Okay. All right. They're showing what today's program. Okay. Doesn't show up yet. That's, yeah, there we go. How come I don't have a picture? Because you have a play video down on the left.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the IBMC Zoom program, Sunday Dharma Talk. We are going to meditate 2 minutes. After meditation, I will introduce the today Dhamma teacher. After Dhamma Talk, we have a question and answer. After that, chanting. So let's do a little bit meditation. thank you again being with us today. We are doing Sunday program almost more than 1 month right now through the Zoom. I think it's very successful, and thank you again all our members who is participating. In case you cannot join today, you can see in YouTube those programs. So thank you, Mr. Ram, and thank you all the monks here, and thank you Achan and Caesar. Today, our speaker, well-known young speaker, his name is Sai Maharjan, and he born in Nepal, and he went to Sri Lanka, and he was a monk in Sri Lanka. He studied his training in Sri Lanka. He studied in University of Peradeniya. Then he moved back to the Los Angeles. He was coming to our temple few times, giving Dhamma talk. So we call basically Dhammapal his previous name, but Sai Maharjan is very happy to see you again, and we really appreciate about your time and energy spending for the Dhamma. And so you can start your talk, and audience, if you have any question end of the talk, you can ask the question and he can answer. So after that we're going to chant a little bit. And so Mr. Sai, you can start. Are you there?
Yes, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante, so much for that introduction.
Are you there?
Can you hear me, Bhante? I'm here, Bhante. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good. All right. You can start.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction, and good morning to everyone. Like Bhante said, I've been associated with Temple for the last couple of years, and it's my pleasure to join this group and share some of the Buddhist ideas. Probably being Buddhist monk for 16 years give me some opportunity to talk about Buddhism more than any of you guys, because of course some of you may have been associated with Buddhism for longer. I bring the ideas from Theravada Buddhism, and even we categorize in different schools. Buddhist teaching is for humanity. It is for our well-being, and definitely for our improvement. I had a class right before this that was a Sunday school for my kids in Riverside Temple. I've been teaching those kids for the last few months, and we stopped for a while and we resumed, and I was talking to them about coronavirus, and I think Omero was saying, it's happy to be alive, and probably it is testing our patience. It is testing our limit in terms of patience is one of the Buddhist perfections. If you know those perfections, so out of 10, we talk about chanti paramita. The meaning could be more than patience, it's more endurance, how much you can endure. There are a lot of Buddhist stories that Buddha tried to give examples of endurance. And this, whatever we're going through, it may seem extremely unique to our time, but there were stories and historical evidence. Even in the Buddha's time, they had this famine, they had this epidemic illness spreading across the country. So during that time, what did Buddha do? And what was the advice from the Buddha? That's what I wanted to share with you guys. What would be the tool that we can use to endure this close to a year lasting pandemic? Well, number one, we have to accept this is not a fault of one person. So there are one big misconception when there is a incidents like this, we like to blame somebody and feel better. That's a defense mechanism we use. And that's what Freud talks about. When you have something difficult, It's easy to blame somebody so you feel better, which is a good defense mechanism. It makes you less stressed. But is that the best defense mechanism you have? Because when you blame somebody, they will rebuttal. They will come back to you and try to accuse you of the same problem. So that fight never leads to good end. And if you have ever met the Buddha, he would not take a side. He doesn't like to win. He doesn't like to lose, because in Pali there is a saying, Jayang Verang Pasavati, Dukkhang Seti Parajayam. If you win, well, you accumulate more hatred, because the people who lost would not like you now. And Dukkhang Seti Parajayam. If you lose, it will give you some pain. It will leave you with some suffering, some sadness. So that's Dukkhang Seti Parajayam. Upasanto Sukhang Seti Hitva Jaya Parajayam. The people who are calm and people, those who have surpassed this struggle between win and lose, they would just give up competing. So that is the Buddhist way to deal with competition. We don't want to lose, we don't want to win, but we need to be above, we need to go beyond that. Well, how do we get there? The hardest part, I think, in every part of our life is our mind. And that's probably what brought you closer to the Buddha's teaching. Because if you want advice on nutrition, if you want advice on physical well-being, physical fitness, you have many other fields, many other schools you can go for. But if you want some spiritual and also mental well-being, Buddha has some good advice for us. And I want to share a few things with you guys. Now, these 4 terms, I'm sure you have heard of it. We call 4 sublime qualities, Brahmavihara. And Buddha called this Brahmavihara because the people who practice these 4 qualities, you can expand your mind unlimited. It's called limitless consciousness. So those 4 qualities, metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. I'll repeat them again and again. I'll summarize at the end. The number 1 is metta. Of course, we have heard this word so many times. How do we use this metta as a defending shield? Now, I like, if those who familiar faces I see here, if you heard me talking, I like to bring Buddhist principles down to day-to-day life. I just don't like to talk about Buddhism from philosophical and principle perspective, but how can we apply them in daily life? So that's what I like to talk in terms of Buddhism. So metta is, the loose translation should be loving kindness. And when we say loving kindness, what is the role of loving kindness in this pandemic and also in struggle? Now, I like to talk these 4 principles as a defense, looking at the opposite side. So the opposite of metta is vaira or hatred, something that you try to push away. Our mind has this tendency, the 2 extremes, which is almost universal truth. When you like something, you want to get closer or keep that object or item to you. That's sukha kama. We love happiness, we love pleasure. And dukkha patikula, we hate something that is not pleasant. So anytime there is something unpleasant, not happy, causing saddening, you try to push it away. So anytime you push away, from Buddhist psychology, I can tell you there are different layers of that pushing away. Very first part of that layer is you dislike it. So it's simple. It's as simple as you made some food. Let's say it didn't go well as you planned and you don't like it, you dislike it. You're not going to hate and you're not going to try to kill the food unless you're really, into cooking. But if you made something that doesn't taste good, you just dislike it. So that's a very early part of pushing away, just disliking. But there are times it goes beyond just dislike. And that's where we call domanassa. That means now there is some saddening residue of dislike. Let's say you bought a car, you invested so much money. Now it's not just dislike, you dump the car, just not like your dish. You invested something. Now you have some attachment to it. So when you try to push it away, it will leave some pain. That's called domanassa. It's a saddening of your mind in Pali. Now, it could go beyond that. And the third layer, I can tell you, is called hatred. Now you got into a marriage and you've been living with that person for a while. Minor conflict built up to a big conflict. Now you cannot live together to the point now you want to separate. Even after separation, if there is some lingering thoughts about, like not liking to see or hear or talk about the person, that's where we call hatred. Hatred is worse. It's stronger than just disliking and disheartened situation. Now, hatred is very powerful, and it's powerful enough to bring you back in this cycle. I'll give you one story that connects with this idea. If you guys have heard of Devadatta, this is a guy who tried to kill Buddha 3 times. Unfortunately, he was related to the Buddha. Now, if you have heard of his previous life stories, like Jataka tells, the Buddha's previous life stories, you would hear Devadatta's name come again and again. Now, as a child, I was like asking, he is so wicked. He is so full of evil. How come he keep coming back with the Buddha? I think I'm better than him. How come I don't have any story with the Buddha? So the answer was his hatred was so strong and motivating. Even he hated Buddha, he did things to be around him. So hatred can take a long way. So hatred, let's not go back to past lives or previous lives, but in current life itself, it can be very strong force. And it can preoccupy our mind. That's where our mind gets polluted. Now there's a sad story about hatred. It can get worse. The highest level of the disliking, the hatred side is aversion. And that is thought itself can be dangerous. Now, hatred, you don't like somebody, you don't want to see, you might need to do something to create karma. But aversion is so powerful, we call vyapada, that's the Pali term. Vyapada is your mind is always thinking about hurting the person, always wishing something bad happened to that person. So that is very dangerous. Why I say very dangerous? Even thought alone can create karma. So in Buddhism, we talk about how karma is created. We need to have intention. We need to do something with our mind and body to produce a karma. So this aversion is so strong, it can, just thought alone can produce karma. So that's what we want to. What do we have as a tool to not get to that level of hatred? Well, that's what Buddha taught. Buddha talk about this loving kindness. And you can think about loving kindness in all those layers. And for us to practice loving kindness is when you have difficult people. Imagine this world is so nice. Everybody smiles at you when you go to go on the street. If you are speeding, other people go to the side. When you're in traffic light, nobody honks behind you. Wouldn't that be amazing? And the sad side is you cannot practice loving kindness because everybody's so nice. But unfortunately, the world is not that nice. We are full of people in this competition, trying to get over us, trying to gain more, do more. So for us, we have a lot of opportunity to practice loving kindness. Anytime you face one of those 4 layers of negative thoughts, use loving kindness as a tool. And you need to know when to use it, because if you don't know and it doesn't come when you need it right away. I had a conversation with my former friend who is a monk. He called me, he's in Norway, and we were talking about some devotees. And he told me this lady wanted to practice about impermanence of life. And she said she got more anxious as she continued thinking about impermanence of life. And I asked how often she practiced, and the lady has never practiced it. So it was the first time she tried, because of pandemic, and she wanted to reflect on that. Didn't work. Makes sense. Just like any other skill, any other exercise, if you try to use it whenever you need it right away, it might not work it. Imagine you have to run 5K tomorrow and you just start training tonight. It's not going to work. It's not going to build your stamina or your endurance. So the point is, we need to start as a habitual thing. Anytime there is this negative thoughts, whether it is dislike or hatred or even aversion, hopefully we don't have that. Try to use loving kindness to push back, to reflect on them. So that becomes one strong tool. And the second tool is Karuna, that's compassion. It's different from empathy or sympathy. If you see somebody suffering when you are driving on the freeway or you work for some kind of health service, you feel pain, you feel sad, and if you do nothing, that could be empathy. You felt it, but you didn't do nothing. But Buddhist idea of this compassion, Karuna, the definition of Karuna in Pali is Paradukhe sati sadhunang hadayang kampatiti Karuna. You don't feel comfortable when somebody's suffering, and you take some kind of action to reduce the person's suffering. So just having feeling is not enough. What did you do? Did you at least talk? Did you at least try to help? That's where Karuna is different from other ideas. So when do you practice compassion? Well, we have a lot of people suffering. So when you see somebody suffering, somebody's in pain, that's your opportunity to use this as your defense. Rather than drowning with them with pain and sorrow, what can you do? At least help them to lift their spirit, tell them there are tools, tell them, if nothing can be done, then accept it. Then accept this is the nature of life. This is what we have to deal with, rather than fighting every day and losing day by day just because we have to fight so much. You're missing out whatever is left. So why don't we just accept it and continue following what you value in your life? So that's where we use Karuna. When you see people suffer, when somebody's in pain, you have opportunity to practice Karuna. And the third one is Mudita. Mudita is a strong way to rejoice someone's achievement. And the opposite force is jealousy. When somebody is achieving, succeeding in life, it's natural we feel a little bit of pinch. Oh, how come I didn't get that? You got promotion, I didn't get it. You have better house, how come I don't have? So we as humans, from Buddhist perspective, there's always comparison. We compare to people, those who are higher than us, equal to us, or lower than us. That comparison doesn't go away until you are fully enlightened. That's the mana. And because of comparing, we don't like when other people are successful, and we take pride when we are more successful than the others. So when you have this competing thoughts, when you feel jealousy, when you don't like other success, this is where you practice mudita. Just like a mother or a father, who didn't get any education but managed to send their children to better school, UCLA, Harvard, Stanford, you managed to send your kids to those schools. I don't think you'll be jealous. You will rejoice that achievement. That's the feeling you want for those who are not your kids, which is hard, right? So anytime you have this competing thoughts of jealousy, envy, that's where you can see, can I be happy with them? Can I wish him success sincerely? Can I not have those jealousy? That's the third one. And the last one may apply for all of us the best, because that's upekha. Upekha is equanimity. And this equanimity is a hard principle to practice. We are always bipartisan. We are always divided into, in politics, like Republicans versus Democrats. In life, I don't know, egalitarian versus some other thoughts. So we divide, and we as humans like to be in groups. And it's not necessarily you have to be in a group. Majority does not mean they're always right. Majority does not mean they have the right practice. Buddha was not a majority. He did not have anybody. There was no Buddhist. If you go back, like just be realistic, when you read Buddha's stories, he was a single man. He was just a single person, just trying to do something new, and he didn't have any followers. So he had to find his way, and he was a single person, and he knew he was right. So when you know that, we might be able to apply this upekha, which is equanimity. Now, equanimity comes when things are unchangeable, like today. Pandemic, it's nobody's fault. You cannot do the blame game, because it's gonna leave with either you hurt more, or you will be sad more. So equanimity is being in between, just like a duck in the ocean. The waves are so strong, the wind is so strong, but you see the duck was nicely floating. So can you train your mind to that level? There's so much happening, but you try to remain calm and compose yourself. And that is our challenge. And when there is challenging forces pulling you to the sides, I want to be equanimous, and I want to reflect in what I'm feeling rather than taking sides, so I don't get into this competition. So these 4 principles, I hope you will remember, and you will try to see anytime the opposing forces comes in, try to use them as your defense. The 4 of them, when you have to deal with hatred, anger, can you go to your mindfulness zone? Can you see them with this love and care and stay calm? Number 2, when you have this people suffering, can you do something to alleviate their pain, their sadness? Number 3, when there is this tendency or chance of being jealous, envy to others' success, can you remain joyful and rejoice their success? And when there is a force to pull you on sides, can you remain equanimous? So these are 4 principles we call Brahmavihara, and we also find them in Abhidhamma, the Buddhist psychology, as limitless consciousness. That means you can practice these 4 principles to anybody. You can spread this consciousness to anyone you like. And when you train your mind this way, no one can do any better than your own mind. There is a Dhammapada Gatha I want to quote and end this discussion. Natang mata pita kaira anye vapi chanyataka samma panihitang chittang seyasonang tato kare. Not mother, not father, not even your relative can do any good to you than the mind that has been trained well. So when we train our mind, we become our best friends. And when you don't train your mind, we are the worst evil. We are the worst enemy. So that's all for today, guys. And I will take any questions you guys have. Thank you.
Thanks, Sai. If you have any question, please ask. We have time, at least 10-15 minutes we have time. So if anybody have any question, you can ask right now.
Thank you, Sai, for your talk. Always enlightening. Can you tell us again the 4 levels of pushing away, of aversion? Like, aversion was the highest one, but what were those 4 levels again?
Yes, no. The first one was the basic disliking. When you, let's say you had to confront something very new stimuli, the first thing is you don't like it. That there's a 3 way to react. Either you like it, either you're neutral, or you dislike it. So the first reaction is disliking. And the second one is disheartened. That's what we call domanassa in Pali. That means it's not just dislike. It's in Pali, it's ruchi aruchi. And domanassa it's more than just aruchi. It's not just dislike. You are not happy. Your mind is upset. It disheartens you. And third one is vera. That is hatred. when you are in, when you invest yourself in that relationship, or whether it is object or person, when you have to remove from your life, it's more than just dishearten. You hate it. You hate it to the point like you want something, just not to face it, not to follow that that person. And the fourth one is vyapada, which is aversion. And in Pali, aversion is described as, you have a piece of cloth and there is a patch. It has been I don't know the term. I'm lacking the term. When you don't wash, it's like there's a some kind of moist, and you didn't wash it. It left the permanent damage in your cloth. What do you call that?
Stain, like a stain.
It could be stain, mildew, yeah, something like that. So you cannot wash it. That's the point. You cannot wash. You have to cut it, or just totally remove it from that piece. In the same way, Buddha talks about this vyapada, that's this aversion, desire to hurt and kill somebody. It's very powerful. Just having thought can produce some consequential karma. So only way to overcome that is you have to remove those thoughts. There is no fixing it. You have to remove, just like the piece of mildew or stain. So those are 4 layers of negative thoughts, and hopefully we don't get to those third and fourth one. They are pretty strong, and we hear a lot of stories, and people. My personal wish for myself is like, may I never hate anybody, because hatred can go a long way. I'm in this samsara. I'm with you guys. No different than any of you. I'm a human being. I have all these ups and downs and all thoughts and feelings. My wish every day when I chant or meditate is like, may I never hate anyone. No matter how hard it is, may I never hate anyone, because those thoughts are very strong.
The first 2 levels don't have karmic consequences?
They are not strong enough to produce karma yet, because it can lead to some action. Because if you don't like it, you're likely to push it away and do something more, but the dislike itself will not produce karma. And also disheartenness does not produce karma itself, but what you do subsequently may produce karma. But aversion itself is enough. Let's say you're contemplating to hurt somebody, you hate him, and you just want bad happen. So that thought is very powerful to produce karma.
Thank you.
If you have any more question, any?
I do.
Okay, you can ask.
Hello, my name is Vincent, and thank you very much for your Dharma talk. I really appreciated the topic, and also the idea that we need to have a steady practice of metta in order for it to be effective, and the sort of example that you used about wanting to run a marathon and with little or no practice. And the idea of mudita, and I also know it as sympathetic joy. And it was just really, I think this is so timely, and thank you so much.
My pleasure, Vincent.
My
yes,
question.
Maria.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for your talk. I would say, I just want to say that personally, I find the most difficult situations to practice these different levels is when it feels like somebody or something or some institution is being predatory. In other words, being actively out to hurt, actively out to destroy. And then there's that idea of self-preservation that kicks in, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because how can we practice if we're no longer, capable or alive. So I don't know if I would appreciate maybe a little bit more discussion about that from your perspective or from the Buddhist perspective.
Yes, Maria, very practical question. We do want to practice these principles, but what do we do when somebody attacks your home? Somebody is always trying to take our niceness for granted. So what do you do? And those are tricky questions for Buddhists, because we promote nonviolence, we promote caring and loving, but for me it's a part of it. Now when you look at Buddha's life, he was the wisest and also the kindest. So if you see that, those two, I talk about these in whenever I talk about Buddha, he has this kindness to its maximum possible, but he's also wise. So I don't know if there is any book that we tells like, what are some practical solutions in those scenarios, like somebody's trying to exploit you, and you might need to use some wisdom now. Without wisdom, compassion alone is lame. It's not going to do the job. You will be taken advantage of, and you may not move further. And in Buddha's, those two qualities, Mahakaruna and Mahapanya, great compassion and great wisdom, we call them pada, which means in Pali, it means, like your feet. So those are 2 feet of the Buddha. So one without the other, it's not going to function. Yes, we have to have those 4 qualities, which goes along with practicing positive thoughts and feelings for others, but also have wisdom. And one idea in Buddhism, I talk when we have these kind of situations, upaya kausalya. Now, when you practice loving kindness, if you have heard of the sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta, he talks about different qualities, and one quality is called nipaka. Nipako means the translation should be situational knowledge, contextual knowledge. I don't know. I'm not doing a good job in translating. So contextual knowledge. Nipaka means you know when to talk, when not to talk, where to be, where not to be. And that is pre-requirement for enlightenment. See, Buddha is not just telling you to be kind, be nice. He's also teaching us improve this situational knowledge. And this upaya kausalya, that's another term, situational wisdom is advocated. So if you are in a relationship, let's say partner abuse, or there's a domestic violence going on in the neighborhood that is causing more trouble, you cannot be there and just practice loving kindness. That goes against what Buddha talked about. Being in a nice neighbor is necessary requirement for enlightenment. So it encourages you that you change something about the environment. Otherwise, it will be more to weaken your mind. It will pollute your mind with those negativity. This requires more effort. So if you're talking about the work, and there's more people discriminative against you, doesn't appreciate your work, it's your call. And we can only tell what is best for you. The situational knowledge calls your judgment. You have to choose, do I stay in this relationship, in this setting, or this is not helping my practice, not helping my life, do I move on? So we need both. Yes, we have those positive qualities, kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy. Also use wisdom. We cannot forget that part. I don't know, Maria, if I answered your question to some extent, at least.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Do you have any more question?
Yes.
Ned.
Oh, thank you for
Is
your
any more
talk.
question?
Yes, but there is one, I think.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
your name is Tai Chi, but your name
Yeah,
is
well, yeah,
Tai
that's
Chi.
my, anyway, that's okay, yeah. Thank you for your talk. This is a small thing. Can you tell me how to spell the Karna and Mudita?
Karuna, yeah, I can actually quickly. I should have done this at the beginning. So if you can see my screen, I can write here. I'll write 4 terms.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's metta.
Tapasati.
Mudita. I think I had the number 2 and 3. So this one, it doesn't matter. Karuna is compassion. And upekha. Those are 4. Let me share. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, again? Can we see it again?
Oh, it's not sharing?
It kind of disappeared. Oh, Karuna. Okay. Oh, Karuna. Thank you.
No problem.
Is there any question? If not, we go to chanting. This looks like no more question. Thank you, Mr. Sai, again.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you for
And hope
joining me.
hope to see you soon. And maybe Vinita will call to arrange next Dhamma talk whenever we have time. You have time. Maybe November, maybe December.
Okay, Bante. Yeah. Thank you,
Okay,
Bante.
take care. And all right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Bante. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions and joining the talk. I'll see you in the future. Have a good day.
All right. Okay, thanks again. And we chant the page 4 and a little bit Pali chanting. And then page 10.
තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සංබුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සංබුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සංබුද්දස්ස භගවා අරහං සම්මා සංබුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සංපන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝක අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ස්වාක්ඛාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සංදිට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ ඒහි පස්සිකෝ ඕපනයි පච්චත්තං වේදි තබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤෝහිති සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඥාය පටිපන්නෝ භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්න භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස පට්ඨ පුරිස පුංගලායේස භගවතු සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ Son numberless, I vow to save them all. Deluding passions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them all. Dharma gates are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. Nguyện di tự công đức phổ cập tứ nhất thiết ngã đẳng dự chúng sanh giai cộng thánh Phật đạo. Nguyện di tự công đức phổ cập nhất thiết ngã đẳng dự chúng sanh giai cộng thánh Phật đạo. Nguyện di tự công đức phổ cập nhất thiết ngã đẳng dự chúng sanh giai cộng thánh Phật đạo.
Thank you again for everybody for your announcement. Next Sunday, Subodha is going to give a Dhamma talk, same time around 11 o'clock. The last Sunday of this month is, I believe, Kashanti is going to give a Dhamma talk. So thank you again, join with us. Again, I want to thank for the Sai Maharjan and all the monks here, and Mr. Nam and Caesar, and especially our technician, Ashan. And so we did finish very nicely everything. And again, the power of all the merit we're sharing. Everybody be well and happy. Thank you again. We have a few times you can, if you still there, you can talk with each other. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Oh my God, you have a 4-month-old baby.
Oh, hello. Yes. Nice to see you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shanti. It's good to see you, Mano.
Nice to see you too, John and Jimmy, and to meet Maya. Oh my God, how beautiful.
She did not cry during the whole, what was it?
The whole service? Yeah.
Yes. She was so good, but I gotta go. She pooped.
Yeah, she
So but we were waiting for the chanting. All right,
Perfect.
bye.
Nice to see you guys. See you next time.
Bye. See you next time.
See you guys next. Yeah, see you next time. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Victor, Tom, nice to see you guys again.
Great seeing you.
Take care. See you guys next week. Let's see what's here. All right. Yeah, look forward to seeing everyone next week, and welcome to all newcomers. If this were in real life, we'd be having tea and cookies right now. So, okay. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.